Tonight, Alberta's GSA policy for schools. The education minister says he'll defund those that don't comply. Would a Conservative government do the same?
We don't think it's very useful to be throwing around threats of defunding.
Live from Edmonton, CTV News with Daryl McIntyre.
Good evening. Aaron Isfeld is off tonight. Alberta's education minister says almost every school in the province has implemented the policy on gay-straight alliances, just 1 year after the legislation was passed. But for those who still are not in compliance, there is a renewed threat. CTV's Tim Brooke joining us live in studio with the details. Tim.
Yeah, Daryl, the provincial government calls the legislation a massive step forward for inclusion, and they're promising to defund any school not on board with it. But the policy that is now mandatory in every public school in the province isn't supported by everyone.
And over 98% of students here in the province of Alberta are protected under compliant policies.
Education Minister David Eggen congratulated the schools that have complied and then sent a threat to the 28 who have not yet publicly posted support for GSA legislation.
Not following the law means you lose your funding.
But before a June defunding deadline, Albertans are expected to head to the polls, which means there's a possibility the threats could be an empty one.
People should be concerned, like it's not just kids in school, but the progress that we've made in our society.
The United Conservatives have yet to commit to the legislation.
Our principle would be that kids have a right to set up gay-straight alliance or other peer support groups. At the same time, we don't think it's very useful to be throwing around threats of defunding.
UCP leader Jason Kenney said on Wednesday he believes in the policy, but not necessarily the NDP's implementation. His comments come just days after party member John Carpe called GSA school legislation an attack on parental rights.
It doesn't matter whether it's a hammer and sickle for communism or whether it's the swastika for Nazi Germany or whether it's a rainbow flag. The underlying thing is a hostility towards individual freedoms.
Last month in a fundraising letter, Carpe also said the system could be used by predators and abusers to exploit children.
He apologized for and retracted his offensive remarks, and that means something. We can't possibly police what every one of our 141,000 members say every day.
And we drew the lines not long ago between Mr. Carpe and Mr. Kenney, and lo and behold, there they are, right, for everybody to see.
The education minister has sent out orders to the 28 private school holdouts threatening that defunding. He did, however, say he'd like to reach a solution through conversation, not through extreme measures.
Okay, Tim, it's been about 5 days since John Carpe made the comments, released so it became public, about the rainbow flag. So Jason Kenney was asked about his party membership today.
Yeah, he was. Kenney has previously said he'd like to create a database that would keep extremists out of that party. When asked today about how it could relate to Carpe's comments, Kenney said it's up to the party board to revoke membership, not the party leader.
All right, Tim Brooke reporting live in studio. Thanks, Tim. Thanks.